Bruh. Alright, now I'm back to my pretend weekly, actually probably bi-weekly or even less often stream. Let's hope my browser scene actually activates correctly this time. Nope, wrong one. Let's try this. There we go. I'll move that off to the side somewhere else. Okay, first things first. The obligatory announcement. The theme voting for the 25th anniversary game competition for the Sega Saturn is still going on, and there's still a chance to flip high fantasy and magic for robots on Future Tech if enough of you guys come in to vote. Depends on what you guys want to see. Again, the theme is technically optional, but it's nice to have everyone kind of on the same page for like what we want to go for, what we're going to be inspired by, and more importantly, if we're going to develop assets and we're willing to share them. So when I'm going to be developing assets on the stream, obviously, and everything I do goes on the GitHub. So whatever theme ends up winning, that's the kind of stuff I'm going to end up having to make. But yeah, I recommend anyone with even a little bit of coding experience just try out Joe Engine, make a quick little crappy 2D game, enter for your chance to win $20+. I will be starting a little bit of a crowdfunding situation for increasing the pot, assuming there's some interest. I've already had requests to do that. We'll see where that goes. But at least $20 is at stake here. Putting that Twitch money to good use. Alright, what else we got? We got our Joe Engine files going on over here. You want to just jump right back into what we were doing last time? What was I doing last time? It's this crap. Let's start from the top and work our way down to what the crap happened last time. Yeah, let's go ahead and start up Mednafend just to see what actually happened last time. Are you running? Come on, I pressed mash the magic keys. Magic keys. Compiling. Running. There we. Oh wow, there goes my everything. Aha! Go find out where my controller went. Oops. Okay. So what was the problem last time? Last time we tried to get started on this separating axis approach to collision, but in 3 dimensions. In two dimensions, we eventually got it working more or less perfectly with convex hulls. Now, the problem that we're about to see is that the position that we're tracking should... Whoa! Okay, there we go. And the box corners go crazy. So as soon as we're in rough collision range, reminder that rough collision, essentially, we're going to set up a radius around each object, and once it's within that radius, we're going to start checking for real collisions with other things that have their rough collision flag checked. It appears that every frame we're just resetting the box, even though the position is not being reset. So what's going on there? Why is it that we're constantly adding values to the to the box corners? And the box corners are essentially every one of these objects is going to have a bounding box used for collision, because I gave up on the idea of having the Sega Saturn calculate collisions for every single vertice and face and edge, because the game would never run if I tried to do that, computationally speaking. So we've got a basic bounding box going on, oriented bounding boxes, so these things will eventually be able to rotate. But as you can see, despite the object not actually moving, the bounding box corners are constantly being overwritten. At least their coordinates are. So, what gives? Also, why isn't the x-coordinate being overwritten? That's the weirdest part to me. So, let's go back into the code and see what could possibly have happened here. So, what do we have? We've got our collision. We have our fixed distance calculation. That pretty much has to work. 2D distance. Yep. Rough radius. We already know that works. Rough radius triggers are I guess smooth collision would be the word that you'd call it. This is a pretty simple function. Whatever. It's still good enough. Yep. It is rough collide all. That pretty much sets up our collision. I probably could stand to comment this a little bit better. Check if rough colliding. Yeah, that's just another function for the sake of being a function, basically. But yeah, it just loops through all the different bounding boxes, I guess. No, this is not. This is B-box collide. There we go. Bounding box collision. Colliding. Wow, I was really lazy with these. Okay, this is the part where we start saying, okay, are you guys colliding in terms of like the smooth collision sense? Hey man, I code live on stream to force myself to at least attempt to make sense of my code for other people. It's also the rubber duck principle in terms of, you know, if I'm forced to explain my code, it pretty much has to work until it doesn't, which is where we're at right now. Okay. Is B-box collide all? So this is the actual function that this thing is just returning the value of. Sort of. Well, no, this is separate 3D box. That's inside a separate 3D. So, is B-box collide all is calling B-box collide for everything that's within rough collision range. Okay, we're resetting collision master. Checking against player. That's not really necessary right now. I mean, that doesn't do anything yet. Because the player, I don't think the player has a bounding box yet, so it can't even do anything. So this isn't. Just in case, let's comment this out, considering that we're not even thinking about the player yet. Then we'll think about the player. Yep. I highly recommend rubber duck programming. Being able to teach is one of the best ways you can do to learn something. Which is more or less what I'm doing here. Kind of, sort of, not really. I doubt anyone's actually learning how to code on the Saturn from this. This is just probably a secondhand embarrassment or like entertainment at the sake of my frustration. There we go. Shane's an excellent rubber duck. Okay, so we're going to compare bounding boxes after the first ID, alright? That makes sense. So whatever ID we're at, we're going to check everything preceding it, because everything before it has already been checked. This feels like a little bit redundant. Let me just turn it into true for now. Just in case. Is B-box collide? Is B-box collide is up here. Separate 3D. Okay, now that's where we're gonna have to start looking at. And then stop collided. That's just gonna stop forward movement. Right. Okay. Separate 3D. 1D bounding box. I get the. I don't think we're not even here yet. We're here, I believe. Most of this is commented out. This is all rotation code. I'm calculating the cross products here. They were going to be used eventually. Actually, okay, they're already being used now. Neat. Yeah, I do remember the Discord conversation. The problem is, I'm trying to find that one point that we were discussing where essentially something has to be added. If I recall correctly. Let me just scroll through what we were talking about. I was going grocery shopping one day. I was like, okay, this problem is bothering me, so I'm just going to bother Ponut about it. So we're looping through. Okay, let's loop through the normals, creating our scaleds. Right? Our scaled normals. Prevent overflow. Oh, right. I can pass through by value for some of these guys. Let's see. But where is that going to be useful? Okay, I think it's project 1D. Box 1 scaled extent 1. Extent 1 needs to be a pointer. Okay, that makes sense. Scaled can be passed by value if we want to do it like that. And then box 1. So what happens when we project 1D? Where is that? I don't need any clone boxes. I don't need destroy boxes yet. Yeah, it's grabbing the information from the corner. So, okay, so the print statement makes sense. Where is Project 1D box? Oh, it's up here. Crap. Every time we do this, we reset corners. I feel like that could be a problem, and that's something I think we discussed already, Ponut. Yeah. Yeah. So, the thing is, when can we reset the corners, then? Should it be under here, I guess? Where is it? Is box collide all? What can we do to reset the corners here? Bounding boxes. Thing is, this should be expensive, but it shouldn't be wrong. This should, when we reset the corners here, we automatically write the corners as this number here, which isn't changing, because this number gets set up during initialization, I believe. So where do I write half for the bounding box? So okay, let me see. So if we don't reset the corners here, we have to reset them somewhere, and we are looping through boxes when we're doing that. So when we loop through boxes, where are we looping through the boxes? Is B-Box collide all? Okay. Reset all the collision masters. Yeah, we can reset the boxes here, I guess. Wait, why is this here and then this is here? What is going on here? Reset corners happening at create B-Box. That makes sense. I like that. I'm fine with that. This makes sense because this is half of whatever the X dimension is, and the X dimension should be fixed. Parent, okay, reset corners here, reset box. Box. So I should be able to take this. Oh crap! I'm leading my category. I'm tent poling or what have you. I don't know ratings language. Thanks for the good news, Shane. Yeah, I'm speaking English, so I mean, I'm guessing they don't want. We don't want Portuguese viewers coming in and saying like, "What is this crap?" Okay, so we need to address individual boxes, but we have a list of boxes, do we not? Do we have a list of boxes that we're inheriting from, presumably, separate 3D? The fact that we can address B boxes means that we're already somehow inheriting from separate 3D, which means I can take boxes and address it with ID. So when we reset the collision master, we're also resetting the corners, and then we won't be resetting the corners when we do anything past that, right? What is this garbage? Always PSU with this weird music that I can't... There we go, that's a little bit more laid back. Okay, there we go. So we move the reset. Reset corners should still basically just work. I don't get why it doesn't work. It's confusing why it don't work. Half... Yeah, all these halves should just work. And they appear to work the first time. The first time I create the box. When I create the box, I call reset corners, and the numbers make sense. It's like -1 to 1 for a 2x2x2 box. Yeah, this is the remix for... Well, I don't know if it's a remix, but Sonic Generations had a DLC Casino Night level, and this is the Act 2 version of it. So the modern Sonic version of it, I guess. Okay. Collision. I'm resetting the corners in all the boxes. Right, okay. And then... Why can't I just type right? Why is it every time I see one of my comments there's something misspelled? Okay, collide hold is false, and then we're going to go through and loop through all the other boxes to see if one of them comes up true. I mean, that is true. I got pretty late before I decided to give up and call it a day and go, alright, we're doing part 3, which is today. Today's part 3. Hopefully part 3 of 3. Collision Master B-Box. It's true. Okay, so the Collision Master is just saying, okay, if we trigger the collision between box 1 and whatever the ID is for the second box we're comparing against, then we'll register true in the Collision Master, and then that should trigger a stop condition in the main collision loop somewhere up here or something like that. Or it might have actually been in the main loop because yeah, there it is. We check for all the collisions and then stop collided all. We'll loop through all the B-Box Collision Master and stop whatever's being flagged as true. But why is reset corners not working right? X offset. All of these appear to be proper. These are all fixed. Fixed plus a fixed is still a fixed, and this is a fixed. And this fixed plus this fixed. These are fixed, right? Let's check. Yeah, these are all fixed. Everything is fixed. Nothing's not fixed. So everything should just kind of work. Okay, and then Project 1D box. We're not inside a Project 1D box. I don't think we're even writing anything to the corners. I think the corners should just stay put once up until once we start triggering the separating axis collide check. That it should reset each corner once and then move on. Okay, let's go back in Mednafend and see if that magically fixed something. Of course it didn't, because is B-Box collide all incompatible type? What? I changed nothing of the sort. Why is it complaining? Collision.c line 200. There shouldn't be a return type. Box's ID. Do I need a pointer? Do I need like an ampersand here? Is that what it's asking for? Nah, yeah, that was it. That was dumb. Yeah, it's always some sort of pointer crap. I never get the pointers right. Okay. So now this thing's I have fixed 2 of the 3 corner issues, but the one of the corners is still constantly changing. What gives? Why is it decreasing? No, it's not even increasing or decreasing. It's just steadily getting bigger. One of the dimensions, the Z dimension, which is front and back for me, I believe. So front and back is getting bigger somehow. The other 2 are fixed just by moving that command somewhere else. This is completely nonsensical. Okay, what happens when I drop the next one? Those coordinates definitely do not track with what's going on in real life. Oh, the program crashed. I can't move. That's indicative of something. It's worse. Okay, so memory corruption. Why is memory getting corrupted? The pointers are all what they are. Everything's being initialized to a fixed size. I'm not malloking everything. Oh, that is a fantastic point. Do I have any uninitialized pointers? So let me see. Would this not count? Like, if I have this, does this count as a non-initialized pointer when I just have a bunch of empty boxes? I mean, I'm creating an array of boxes. I assume because the boxes are a fixed size, it will pre-fill all that with crap or something, or at least zero it out or whatever. If it's global. Is it global? Should I write like global in front of it to ensure that condition? So I got an array of all these boxes and all. Yeah, okay. So I figured that because I've done stuff like this before, this should be fine. And all these boxes have the property corners, and all these corners are being reset via reset corners over here. And initially, it should just write in this fixed value. Half has already been written. Half should have already been written by... When does it get written? Where is half? Who writes half? That is a good question. Okay, this might be the... No, okay, when I create the B-box, half should be the X dimension times literally 1/2. When does create B-box come into play? Player B-box initial. Okay, so I initialize the player B-box. Do I initialize any other B-box? Why is that the only time that comes up? This is an oversight. Huh. Is that cannot be the only time that comes up. Find in all open documents. There we go. So over here, create B-box. There we go. Create B-box. Okay, there we go. It's somewhere in here. Create object. Inside of create object, I call create B-box. I knew I wasn't crazy. Wait. Explain. How is this Cowboy Bebop? You totally lost me. Okay, whatever. Fine. Yeah. I didn't even make that connection. Well, this is a magic number if I ever saw one. What is that? So X dimension, Y dimension, Z dimension. Oh, this is the player. The player has... I calculated these based off of what a human should probably more or less kind of sort of run, not really be like. Half should be... X dimension is fixed times... Well, let's see. Maybe the numbers I'm giving it is garbage. 2 bit shifted left 16 times. That should be 2 fixed, right? Line 65. This guy? Ent. What's ent? No, that's fine. Unless am I looking at a different file? Skipping around a bit. All these lines, like, if X works and Y works, Z should definitely work. Because they're all basically identical, right? Here, okay, but... No, but this is reset corners. This is where I actually want to write value into the original. So... This is where I'm triggering the bounding box to reset itself based off of the parent object's orientation. I want it to be able to basically take the half width and apply it to all the corners in the right order. And then find the offset by taking the center coordinate and adding the position of the parent object. So how do I... Don't use the original value in the math. Okay, how do I go about doing that? For these corners... Can't I just... Can I, This should be grabbing the value, shouldn't it? This shouldn't be grabbing a reference. This should be grabbing a value. So it's not like I'm shoving a pointer in there. Well, how about this? I'll do this. I'll temporarily hold on to... Let me create some fixed here up ahead. Fixed. X hold. 0. Y hold, Z hold. I mean, it really shouldn't work, but it does, I guess. Or it might. Hold values. X hold should equal this. Y, Z. Okay, I tend to have good luck when the Sonic Adventure soundtrack comes up, so maybe this is a good sign. Okay, so we're taking the... Thing is, this should still be a number. I think. Right? You have, what do we have? We have a pointer to a box. We arrow down 2 corners, and that corner... So arrowing essentially should give us a value. They should give us back a value. And not writing a random freaking pointer to X hold as a fixed. Anyway, so let's do this. Let's do X hold. Fundamentally, this should not have changed anything. Okay, back into Mednafen. Well, looks like it compiles, so I didn't break anything severely. Oh, literal... Okay, well, I'll do that in a second then. Okay, that's not doing what I want. Is this program gonna crash? I'm suspecting yes. Yep, crashed. Okay. Let's do what Ponut says. Let's write the numbers 0 to all these guys. Oh, whoops. That's not how you write a comment. That's how you write a comment. Alright. So it's literally going to be the offset. The offset itself should probably also be 0, so, you know. Unless I'm doing something severely wrong. Okay. Why is that a 5? That should be literally impossible. Is the offset a 5? Is the offset working correctly? I like that. Alright. And... it crashed again. So it crashed, but the numbers seemed to behave more realistically. It was tracking the center. Okay, what does that mean? This stuff was giving me garbage values somehow. But also, the offset seems to be working right for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, I'd like to fix that crashing problem. That would be nice. So what's going on after... Okay, so I'm resetting the corners. I trigger the collision checking... Wait a minute. It occurs to me that these guys were resetting their boxes outside of a collision check. Or at least... Let me see. Okay, yeah, okay, that's how it's supposed to be then. They're everyone's resetting their corners regardless of whether or not they've checked off collision yet. Something happened to cause it to crash. Thing is, how do you even track this thing? Like, I don't even know what to look for. So we have, we're just checking Collision Master. This should be harmless. This Collision Master is fixed size. We're just getting a number out of it. Is B-Box Collide? Oh, we can get rid of that for a second. And I believe is B-Box Collide, is that a collision function? Yeah, is B-Box Collide is a collision function. Oh, it's right above where I was. And it's separate 3D box. Okay. Where is separate 3D box? Oh, it's under Project 1D box. Okay. But how can it though? Wait. IDE2 plus 1. Let me... You have a good point there. What's the worst case that can happen here? This thing... ID1 can go up to what? It can go up to num object. But Collision Master is oversized, is it not? Yeah, Collision Master is oversized. So, num object should be a small number. Yeah. So this thing can't even go up to num object, but the Collision Master has IDs up to num object. Okay, right. Not those exactly. It would be, yeah. Well, yeah, but we're never actually going to be addressing 201. So what we're going to be addressing, we'd be addressing 199 essentially at the worst case scenario. And then that +1 allows us to reach element 200. So same thing here. Thing is, if we in the scenario where we're at the very end, and ID1 is like 199, ID2 is 200, but ID2 must be less than num object. That means this doesn't even get triggered then, I believe. And then, let me see, ID is still an integer, box is a reference. Yeah, box 1 is a pointer. But, how does it know? Oh! Oh, no! Oh! I should not have commented this out, even a little bit. That was a bad mistake. I needed the... I commented out the writing the pointer to the right location so we knew what to do. This was an uninitialized pointer. Well, I mean, they're probably frozen solid. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I got distracted by freaking, you know, Plinkett over there with his pizza rolls, but yeah, I commented this out thinking, oh, I'm not dealing with the player yet, but no, the else statement was the most important part of this piece of code. Yeah, okay, I created a problem for me to solve. Fantastic. Yeah, let's try this again. Of course, it's not going to solve the fact that the Z-axis is going freaking crazy. Unless it stopped doing that, I don't know. That looks correct. Oh, I gotta do something about this coordinate system. It's starting out negative and getting less negative as it goes down. That feels wrong to me, but I'll figure it out. Okay, now it's just not stopping, which is, you know, a separate problem. Oh, okay. What's this? No box collision? So now we're just seeing why the collision isn't happening. These guys should not be able to overlap like that. That's wrong. It's saying the box is colliding. Now, yeah, all the boxes are colliding. Great. How's that help? Oh, because all the corners are in the same location. We don't have corners anymore. We have points. Okay, let's go back and try to figure out that other part. The part where the corners ought to be colliding. Where is that part? Where did I put it? Where is that? It's where I was writing that offset thing. There we go. Let's try this. Except for some reason, these guys were writing garbage values in, and I need them not to do that. Can I put like a... How do I force a value? Yeah, we zeroed everything out. We have a box of dimension 0, a bunch of boxes of dimension 0 stacked on top of each other. That wasn't going to go anywhere. So what, do I put like a, can I put like an ampersand in front of this guy and have him force the value in? Would that actually do anything? After box, wait, this part, move it after. But then, no, but I need to have initialized these guys at some point. The first time I call this, they won't be initialized. They'll have to, oh, okay, they'll be 0. So the first frame they exist, they won't be able to collide. That seems like a bad idea, but let's see if this actually fixed it, though. I'm not sure if putting this ampersand in front is actually going to help anything. It might make things worse. Well, we'll find out. Okay, that's what I figured, but I don't know what else to do. Because it felt like it wasn't actually updating the value that's stored at that location. It felt like it was writing like a garbage pointer there that kept moving. Or something. Okay, none of those look correct at all. Why is it going up by 5s? That doesn't make any sense. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. No, those are not the corners. The corners are not being written correctly. And of course, if I write this guy, they're going up by 5s. That makes no sense. Yeah, none of this looks right. But at least it's not crashing anymore, so that's something. It reset everything to 0s, and that's not even, I mean, like the bottoms should be 0s and the top should be 2s. Okay, I mean, technically, yes. Hey, this guy is triggering a collision somehow, just by freaking magic. And all of these values look dead wrong. Like, absolutely, totally backwards. What is going on? I should be writing the corners into halves, right? Huh. Okay, no. This isn't working out right. This doesn't look right at all. Because look, corners are being written here with the halves. And then the corners getting rewritten with X hold, which is 0, and X offset, which is the center point. I don't even know what's going on with that, but oh, this is the reason why they're adding. So maybe one of these offsets is like 5 or something, right? Yeah, all these squares make a circle. So all these offsets, let's say the Z offset is the one that makes the most sense to me. Z offset might be 5 because it's going to be like 5 ahead of me. Z offset's going to be 5 ahead of me. I write Z hold into 5. Next corner I come up to, Z hold is 5, and then offset's 5. It's going to go to 10. It's adding. We made an adding machine, and this thing needs to definitely not be in here. This has to be in front. This has to be the first thing. This isn't looping through frames. This is looping through corners. Let me write that explicitly. Yeah, that's what happened there. Why do I go to less than or equal to 8? That sounds wrong. That sounds very wrong. That should be less than 8, shouldn't it? 8 corners, index is 0 through 7. Was that my problem? I'm gonna be so pissed if that was my actual problem. It's freaking counting. Counting starting at 0. It's stupid. Programming is dumb. Don't do it. Okay, I'm just kidding. Everyone join the contest, please. Those look like reasonable numbers. Now let's see if these guys are gonna become reasonable too. Holy crap! Holy crap! It was... I could have been done 2 weeks ago. It was an equal sign. The single equal sign. Math! I know, right? It works! It works! It works. It doesn't rotate yet, but it works. Here, let's do this again. 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 Why aren't you dropping? Oh, I celebrated too early. Crap. No, please, what are you doing? Stop. Keep going. Why aren't you dropping? Okay, so 2 guys are colliding and it stopped everyone from colliding. This feels like it's probably a simple fix. All of you guys need to be dropping now. Gravity's still in play. Yeah, okay, yeah. Let's go back and check our collision logic. But that first one dropping precisely on top of the other one and just stopping was beautiful. Let's do that again. Okay. Collide all. How do we trigger stop collided? Okay. Collision master. Okay, we're checking. Oh, so the collision master is triggering the stop. That part makes sense. Collision master is being triggered true if what? Collide hold is that. Hey, collide hold is being set to true here, and it's not being reset to false at the end of that loop. How interesting. Let's fix that. Let's put that at the beginning of the loop just to make double sure. What even is that? What clipped by millennium? Oh, okay, you made a clip. Yeah, you caught a clip of my premature celebration there. I'm gonna get yellow flag tossed at me for that one, but you know. Let's try this again. Hey Ponut, if this works, I totally solved that collision problem I told you I was gonna do super quick, like the beginning of the year. Finally. Box. Box 2. And it stops. Box 3. Colliding. Okay, offset. Box 4. Look, I specifically set the gravity low so I wouldn't have to deal with, you know, stuff. Box 5. Hey, it's Valen. I don't remember your name ever, but, like, welcome to the one stream where things are going almost a little too smoothly. I think I didn't finish 3D Collision, but I got it working. I think the only thing that's left is adding rotations in. But yeah, I can stack boxes. And that's enough to make, like, a really crappy sandbox game. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I'm terrible at names anyway. If you logged in with your original username, I probably still wouldn't remember you. I'm sorry. But hey, you should totally join the join the Sega Saturn 25th anniversary game programming competition. You'd win a tiny bit of money. Link in the description if you're on YouTube or on Twitch or literally anywhere, or even like pinned at the top of my Twitter while this is still running. Everyone who has a little bit of programming knowledge should join up. Apparently, if I could figure this out in like, it's already August, so I've been at this for like technically like 7-ish months. Oh, thanks, Shane. There we go. So 7 months into me programming on the Sega Saturn, I finally have what is like the bare requirements for a game. Because now that I have proper 3D collision, woo, that's weird. Okay, yeah. Let's stop the player from doing that later. Okay, I will blame Ponut, but that's only because I don't want to take blame for myself. Now that I finally kind of sort of, like I said, second half of the stream, now we're going to be doing rotations. If you guys remember, I had a stream programming schedule for this entire month saying I was going to be working on 3D tools because XL2 so graciously provided his updated model converter, his updated version of the source code for Sonic Z Dream, and I was going to spend some time on the stream working on that to help out with the programming competition. But at this point, I'm going to be announcing the theme on the next stream, and then you guys are all on your own because I will need to work on my game because my game is nowhere near ready to be played. So, good luck, everyone. Hey, the worst moderation is better than no moderation. Well, I mean, you know, maybe the reverse. I mean, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing fine. Yeah, XL2 makes fantastic stuff, and it's kind of not fair that like I don't have enough free time in order to catch up to him, because apparently he's like a total amateur in real life in terms of programming, but he makes freaking. He's basically finished Sonic Z Dream. Like, it's not a finished game, but everything that's in there is polished enough to be like a real game, more or less. So all you'd have to do is like add 2 more levels, and it would be like a full-sized, realistic Sonic game that could have sold for like $40 back in the day. And of course, the him freaking making an OpenGL-based preview editor for the freaking, or not editor, preview tool for the model loader is like phenomenal. If you guys join up on the Sega Extreme Discord, you guys can bother him the same way I bother him. I recommend you don't, because his stuff is already out on the internet, and you can just ask someone else for it, and everyone's riding XL2's dick, basically. Me especially. Okay, rant aside, let's get back into the code. The collision is working, which is beautiful. Okay. What was I gonna do? I was gonna do rotations. That's all this garbage. Oh my goodness. Alright, let's do this. Okay, what's the quick and easy way of doing this? Get rid of that. I painstakingly basically transcribed entire rotation matrices here, and then I commented it out. And it turns out the Sega Saturn has potentially equally or less efficient rotation matrices that I can just use, like this. So I'm gonna do that. And then R1 and R2 are the matrices right here, and then I can just grab stuff from it. And then I can apply the matrices. So apply to the normals. So these lines aren't like, these are pseudocode lines. So this should be normal 0, normal 1, normal 2. 1, normal 2. And then normal 3, normal 4, normal 5 for the second. So we have we have 3 normals for the first bounding box. It's going to be XYZ for the first bounding box. 3 normals for the second bounding box, which is also XYZ, but for the second one. Refreshing. What's going on? Oh crap, did the stream break? I'm hoping it didn't. I'm doing stuff. Please don't. Packet loss? No, I got okay internet. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, Shane, go get yourself some fiber optic or something. I don't know what's going on over there on your end of the coast or what have you. Gave me a mild heart palpitation there. Well, okay, problem solved. Hopefully. I hope. Anyway, so like I was explaining, we have XYZ normals for the first bounding box, XYZ normals for the second bounding box. Is that what's going on here? Yeah, separate 3D, we're looking at 2 bounding boxes. And we are going to write to them like so. Let me see. How do you apply a matrix? Oh boy, this is going to be normal 0, 0. Is that how we're addressing these guys? Yes. Okay. Is equal to... Actually, these guys are starting out with individual unit matrices. This is good. So let me open up. What can I open up? Paint. Let me open up Paint and try to make a description of how linear algebra works. Paint. Paint. There we go. Alright, class, it's time for math. So we're going to have a matrix here, multiplying on the right by a vector here. So let's call this our element 1. Oh my goodness, why am I using this font here? 48's good enough. There we go. 1, 0, 0. Comic Sans. No, I don't think so. Okay. We're not going to be talking about vector spaces because, I mean, really, who needs to know about vector spaces? Like, what use are they to anyone besides mathematicians? I mean, until you're doing string theory or some advanced quantum mechanics, basically everything's in 3 or 4 dimensions anyway, so. Vectors are 3-dimensional. Pi is exactly 3. Okay, we got a 3x3 matrix, and we're going to multiply by vector on the right-hand side. Hey man, we're just trying to do linear algebra at this point. Matrix algebra. We're just trying to get this thing out of the way. So we're going to have each row is going to be multiplied by each column to get that specific element. So I mean, yeah, cosines and sines work great. And that's more or less what we're doing here, but we're letting SGL do the heavy lifting, so I don't have to think about it. And then if we want to go back and try to use my translated rotation matrices to do the same thing, hopefully that'll work too. Okay, so we're going to do the first element of this. So the result is going to be a 3-row, 1-column vector, just like what we multiplied on the right by. So the first element is going to be A times 1 plus B times 0 plus C times 0. So really the first element is just going to be A. Now for the second element we got D times 1, E times 0, F times 0. Second element's going to be E. Oh wait, sorry, not E. My bad. D. And then similarly for the third element we got G times 1, H times 0, I times 0. That's going to be G. So this is going to translate into the new normal is going to be R1 0 0 R1 1 0 R1 2 0. Well, I mean, because we're working with orthonormal units here, we can just go ahead and apply the apply what I just did here and kind of make it work out right. So here's it'd be R1 0 0. I'm assuming we can address a matrix like this. I mean, yeah, that's unfortunately a normal reaction. Row 1, column 0, row 2, column 0 for 0, 2. Oh, crap. Sorry. Switch over. So essentially, we're going to have we have calculated, where are we? We've calculated a rotation matrix that we stored in R1. Matrix is stored in SGL as like a 4x4 for some freaking reason. But that we're still just going to be using the first few elements. So back to that picture. Oops. So first element. So normal 0, 0 is literally just going to be R 0, 0. There we go. And then normal 0, 1 is going to be the first element of the second row of R1, which is R01. Or wait, R10. Sorry, it's R10. As shown here. And then R20 for the third element. Just, you know, pretty self-explanatory. Well, as self-explanatory as I can get, really. We're going to do something similar for the other three normals and then repeat it for R2. So, oh, whoops. 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. How many normals do I got to deal with? 3, 4, 5. All right. Let's fix this up first. So none of these are right yet. So let's do the case where we have the y vector. So the y vector is going to look like 0 and 1. So now we're going to have B, E, and H. Oops, I keep forgetting to... Yeah, sorry. So we have the y vector 0, 1, 0. We're going to multiply by the same matrix. We're going to get B, which would be R 0, 1. E, which would be R 1, 1. And H, which would be R 2, 1. So we can write that in. So that's going to be 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. All right. And then we can kind of follow the pattern here. And if we go back to the paint thing, we say, okay, let's say we put the 1 down here and the 0 up here. Oops. Okay. I'm using MS Paint here. It's just going to turn out to be that this column is C, F, and I for the same math. So C, F, and I is going to correspond to our 2, 0, 2, 1, and 2, 2. And that's just going to be it. And then we can repeat this for the second bounding box just by changing R1 to R2. Okay, so that's going to be 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then this is all R2s. I could find replace this, but I'm too lazy and I'm almost done anyway. And now the normals have been recalculated, and then the normals will create their new cross products, and that's how they should be. The scales will be calculated for each of the 15 normals that we're checking against, and then we're going to be doing the same math. So in theory, this should be done. Let's find out how wrong I am. Okay, first off, let's test out the basic test case where we do the same thing we did last. Oh my goodness, what did I do? I didn't mean to do that. Reset, reset, reset. Crap. My finger slipped. It shouldn't have done that. Okay. So the first good sign is that these guys are colliding. That's nice. So let me rotate this thing, like, at an angle and try to put it up here. Caught the corner. I'm gonna be confident and say I think this problem is solved. Let me see if I can get this thing to fall. No, that's too far. The problem is with this system is as soon as I detect a collision, I stop everything. So these guys are floating in the air because I spawned them on top of each other. Oh, whoops! This guy missed. Let's try again. So I just need to avoid situations where things are spawning on top of each other. This is going to be kind of a stress test here. If this corner case, did it work though? Did it just miss it? I can't tell. Let me try again. See, I wanted to declare this fixed, but I can't tell if maybe... Yeah, it's hard to tell because the rendering isn't perfect right now. Oh, okay. See, that feels like it should have collided. But I can't tell. The rendering is weird. Yeah, if this thing is already down to 30 frames per second. So if I implemented something like that... Okay, so my problem right now is that everyone is detecting a collision against each other, so the thing is slowed down. So this definitely needs optimization. I mean, that looks right there. And if I put another one... Let me see. I just want to see how close I have to come to a corner before it just doesn't work. Okay, at that point, I'm gonna say the other cases were just rendering issue because that is a pretty close collision there, and they are colliding. But the problem is my rendering Z-sort type situation is not fantastic. So it's hard to tell when I should be drawing the bottom box or the top box first. I'm going to call this problem solved. Now it's a matter of making sure that things are optimized. Because right now, every one of those boxes is checking collision against every other one of those boxes. And that can get expensive quick. So I think I have a quick solution to this, and it's going to be a second collision check inside of the first one. So Rough Collide All is in collision here. Is Rough Collide. So the first thing I want to do is check if Rough Collide All. Okay, there we go. Rough Collide All. We're going to take... What are we taking? Point. We're going to take this guy and its rough radius. And the ID of the object that we're colliding against. Okay. So we're going to take something like this. Let me just copy... this should probably be its own function, but whatever. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it inside of VBox Collide All. So... So we're going to do a basic check rough collision. I don't like this song, though. I like PSO. I don't like that specific song. Nope. Nah, okay, close enough. So we're going to check the rough collision between... Yeah, I've got a similar situation going on, except I'm working on a Saturn, so instead of like 800, it's more like 10. Between boxes first. Oof. I have to... Okay, this one has already been written to. Point... I need to probably initialize up here first. So point is what? Where did I steal this from? Up here. Now let's take for check rough collision between the boxes first. Okay, so if it's the player, it's going to be whatever this number is. It's a magic number, I guess 0.9. And then we're going to take player position, and if not, we're going to take the object ID. The first object, store it into point. And then rough radius has been stored, point has been stored, and ID2 is exactly what it is. So we can take this line and add it to the check of whether or not we need to check this rough collision. So that way we're only checking neighboring guys for the rough collision. If it's already colliding with something, the thing is I need to know if other things are colliding with it too. So if object 2 is colliding with object 1, but then object 3 comes in collision range, I need object 3 to stop as well. So I need to be able to check against object 2 again. And, you know, I've already tried to engineer against that with the triangular loop that you can see here, where I start the loop at the ID of the first object and then continue on to the end. So I'm trying to reduce the redundancy here. This check over here should reduce it by a lot more. So let's see how many boxes I can stack before the thing slows down on me. Oh, come on! Invalid L value assignment at line 248. And oh, whoops. Yeah, my bad. That didn't need to be there. So here's one box. 2 boxes. Oh, this is gonna go pretty slow if I keep waiting for these guys to fall, isn't it? 3 boxes. 4 boxes. 5 boxes. X and Z. So you mean like rotate the camera and try to stack it like this? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, I don't really have X and Z rotation right now. I'd have to add it into the controls. Let me see. What I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of working off of the very optimistic assumption that because the math is symmetric, the the fact that the Y rotation works means the X and Z rotation also work. But I would have to program in more controls in order to be able to test that. Or at the very least, I'd have to change the controls up into like a debug mode type setup. And to be honest, I'm a little too happy that this is working that I would jinx it by testing against stuff that I don't think I'm ever going to use anyway, because I'm only going to be applying collision to essentially actors and their environment. The environment will not have mutual collision checks. There we go, 13 boxes. 13 boxes was my limit. So, this isn't encouraging because, I mean, how many checks are actually going on here right now? We've got box 1 and box 2, we got box 2 and box 3, we got 3 and 4, 4 and 5, 5 and 6. So every one of these interfaces should be a check, but there shouldn't be redundant checks. So I think we have only about 12 or 13 different separating axis checks before this whole thing slows down. That's not encouraging. That means my levels are going to have pretty big bounding boxes so that I can have only as many checks as there are actors. And then collision checks are also going to happen with weapons. So like weapons, projectiles, stuff like that. So essentially, I can't have more than 12 collisions going on at the same time if I'm using the system. Okay. I realize that it's early. I've only been streaming for like an hour 12, but I feel like I've accomplished what I set out to do today, and I didn't have a plan for anything else. I mean, short of, if anyone has ideas for how to optimize this, because I feel like this is as optimized as it's going to get for the current structure of the code. Limit myself to 5 what? What do you mean? Oh, 5 collisions? Here's the thing. What I'm going to need is I'm going to need a collision per surface. So potentially, let's say a player or character is backed into a corner. That's 3 collisions. That's a collision against 2 walls and a floor. So on top of those 3 collisions, you're going to have a let's say you have an enemy that is also going to have collisions. So you're going to have up to 6 collisions in that case. Let's say 2 more enemy or 1 more enemy. Let's say you can have up to 2 enemies on screen or something like that. That's already 9 collisions maximum. And then, yeah, and then you have to account for actor-actor collisions. So essentially, you're going to swing, like, say, a sword, and that sword will have to detect the enemy via another collision check. That's going to be the sword colliding with at least 1 actor, potentially 2 actors if everyone's close up together. So the way I'm thinking right now, I feel like I can't, if I want to maintain frame rate, I can only have 1 opposing actor to guarantee this frame rate. So if I enter a room, there can only be 1 enemy in it. Does that sound about right? So each actor, just to keep themselves upright and away from obstacles, is going to require up to 3 collisions per. And then every time they use a weapon, that's at least 1 additional collision per opposing actor. So if I limit myself to 1 player and 1 opposing actor, that would be 8 collisions. Maximum. And let's say I wanted to try and make this a fully 3D game. Let's say I wanted to walk into a room with a bunch of people in it. That could in itself be a problem. Well, what else would you do? Oh, Goku. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. See, okay, I agree that bounding box is overkill for a weapon, but I'm not sure how else you would do it besides, So would you do like a distance function for like a rough radius check for the weapon swing? So like I'll have points at the base of the sword, the tip of the sword, and I guess maybe the middle of the sword, and each one of them would have a rough radius of essentially 0, and then I do a rough radius check of whether or not they're inside the hitbox of the other guy. Or even better, if I just have the coordinate of those points on the sword, if any of them appear inside of the bounding box, you know, because the bounding box itself has been set up. I'm assuming the bounding box is already going to be there and ready to be utilized. I can take the corners and do a very quick compare. But yeah, the 60 frame per second thing is going to be a major obstacle here. I mean, okay, so I have to Okay, well, okay, so for starters, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna have to figure out some new math about that because I'm not actually familiar with that approach. But it makes sense that if I can get a line to intercept with a bounding box, an oriented bounding box, then I'll know that it's colliding. But I still need I need to figure out the math for that. I'm sure there's documentation for that somewhere. I just don't have it on the top of my head right now. But let's say hypothetically, if I want to compromise and I want to, I'm okay with sticking with 30 frames per second. How far can I push this collision system? Because I think the difference between 60 and 30, maybe I can make up for it if I make everything else really nice or really smooth for the 30. Because I really wanted 60. Like 60 was my benchmark number, but I'm starting to think now the amount of work it would take to optimize everything for 60 would be untenable. Oh, whoops. I put down 2. Okay, so I think like I can handle 24. Did anyone see when it switched over to 24 frames per second? Was it 25 or 24? 24, yeah. Okay, so 24 collisions is a lot more leeway though. So let's say I have everyone mutually colliding, all the actors mutually colliding. So let's figure out some worst case scenarios. If I wanted to do 30, let's go over into Notepad++ and just open a new tab. So player, he's gonna have let's figure out. We're gonna have object. We're gonna have level collisions. We're going to have potential weapon collisions. And then we're going to have mutual collision. Oh, let's put mutual first. That's going to be more important. And then weapon collisions we can assume are much cheaper. So level collisions, let's assume there's 3. And then mutual, right now there's 0. If we add enemy 1, all of a sudden there's 6 level collisions, and now there's a mutual collision of 1. Enemy 2, there's going to be 9 collisions, and then mutual collisions, there's going to be 1 between each player. So that's player 1 to enemy 1, enemy 1 to enemy 2, and enemy 2 to player. That's going to be 3. So we're at 12. Okay. Let's put a third enemy in. 12 level collisions. So we're going to have 1, 2... Okay, so 3 for the player to everyone. Then plus 2 for the enemy 1 to everyone. So 3 plus 2 plus 1 is what, 6? And already we're at 18. Let's switch off of whatever this is. I'm not a fan of this one. Okay, that's good enough. Fantasy Star. I'm into Fantasy Star. So 3 total collisions. We add 1 enemy. There's potentially up to 7 total collisions. Enemy 2, there's up to 12 potential collisions. So we add 4. We added 5. And then we added 6. If we add 7, we'll be at 25. Worst case scenario. Well, yeah, but even the trash enemies, they're going to be essentially bounding boxes. So 15, and then 4 for the player. Plus 3 plus 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 2 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So it's the same pattern I figured, 25. So if I can have up to 4 enemies in a room, worst case scenario, I've got 25 collisions, and that is just at the point where I get frame dropping to 20 frames per second. And that's if everyone is huddled up in a corner, bumping into each other, trying to fight each other. So I can engineer a situation where there's 4 enemies, but the AI wants to keep the distance and try and make it so that, you know, all 5 of these collisions, or all 25 of these collisions don't happen. But then I need to think, I'm going to be putting, like, a model of an enemy in there, and that itself could be bad. Also, I feel like this could be optimized by shoving some of this math up to the secondary processor. Right now I'm only running single core. I didn't even think about the fact that Sega Saturn is a parallel processing system. I can put this collision math on a secondary core, can't I? Can I put it in the slave? And the slave would be able to handle it, and I'd still be able to do all this other stuff? Why not? Oh. What if I don't want to use the 3D matrix though? Because I can switch that over to the sine and cosine lookup tables with addition. Or by 3D matrix, do you mean it's actually rendering stuff? Like that's what XL2 is using for Z-Stream tools to render stuff? Because I thought that was handled by VDP 1 and 2. Okay, yeah, but if I don't use SGL's 3D math, if I just use the sines and cosines as lookup tables, what I can do is I could skip the 3D math part where the part where you're talking about here, this matrix calculation. I don't need to do this. I can do this down here and get equivalent results potentially faster on whatever processor I'm in. Oh, the actual... Oh, okay, so the actual 3D rendering. That's not an option. Right, okay. So, wherever this collision math is where it is. And then, yeah. So, SH2 is basically spoken for by 3D graphics. But that means I don't have to worry too much about putting more graphics on the screen because SH1 is handling the logic of it. So let me do this. I'm going to say I'm not doing enemy 4. Well, okay, this isn't doing it. I'm doing a player and up to 3 enemy combatants within a room. And collisions only happen within a room. Rooms are kind of small. So then I can guarantee myself 30 frames per second. And then I don't think these collision checks are interfering with the graphical rendering. The collision is a full 3D matrix and 15 times 3, like a 15 by 3 list of vectors. So, well, okay, well, the rough collides are happening. Let me think about that. Because realistically, I want to divorce the game into to objects and basically like static level objects and actors. So the actors themselves should be essentially rough colliding with everything within the room all the time. So that's potentially, I don't know how many objects I can fit into a room, like static objects. So, 4 walls, a roof, a floor, and, some obstacles like a table or whatever. If I were to do that, potentially, like, I don't know, a few dozen. I have to push off a lot of coordinates and radiuses. So essentially, a collision information comes in packets of 4 fixeds. I mean, maybe that's something I can do. I'm not going to do it in time for the contest. The contest, I want to focus on content, so I'm going to try to do a 1 versus 1 player-enemy combat thing. But otherwise, I would like to do a. I think the DSP can be used for the rough collision, like you said. But the problem is, the DSP would have to look up essentially 4-dimensional coordinates, X, Y, Z, and radius, for every object in the room, and that could be, dozens of objects. Yeah, I mean, I liked RoboPit, and I think RoboPit's kind of like the aesthetic I'm going for anyway. I think I could kind of recreate that, except, medieval high fantasy, even though the setting is more or less supposed to be space. I'm kind of going for the Phantasy Star aesthetic in that it's going to be a high fantasy science fiction adventure. So like there's going to be sword and sorcery in it, but also it's the backdrop is, oh, actually there's computers here somewhere. So for the contest, I think I can set up like a duel with a goblin or something, and just have some. I think I'd be spending the rest of the 3 months on AI. I mean, unless you guys vote on that poll and completely switch around where it's going. So, let's say worst case scenario, I limit the battle arena to 3 enemies. There's gonna be a lot fewer rough collisions, because the rooms will be simple. It'll be like, I'm gonna basically make cubic room segments that will connect to each other via portals, and maybe a room will have less than a dozen collision surfaces. Right, okay. So if I can give the list for all the collision surfaces and their potential rough radius, then yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah, and so the rough collides will essentially be the room objects. So that's going to be 6 for the floors and ceilings and walls, and then another 6 for, let's say I want to put a table there, or pillar, or column, or whatever. And each of those are going to be like a single radius. If I could somehow make the rough collision asymmetric, like I can turn it into ellipsoid, without making it much more expensive. That'd probably be better. Like if I wanted a tall column, instead of making it a giant sphere, I could make it a tall, skinny ellipsoid for the rough collision. But yeah, so rough collisions can be cheap, and then the rough collisions will write to the collision master, and then the bounding box collision can happen for each actor. So yeah, I think this is a good path forward. I don't really see anything else I really want to work on tonight, because this is the last hour and a half for the last stream that I was doing, that I just wanted to finish collision. But after about like 3 or 4 months, I think we're finally at the end of the month of collisions. We have a functioning collision system. I'm gonna shove this onto GitHub, and you guys can all steal it. And maybe if I find the time, I'll write an article on the Shrek repository, which is also linked down there, for example code on the Saturn. Which, I mean, in this case, this is just example code, period. You can steal it for any system you want. But this is probably good enough for me to continue on and do an actual combat system with. So I'm gonna have to make some models. I'm gonna have to see if I can't do animation. So maybe the next stream will be using XL2's Z-Stream tools to animate. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'm going to close up the stream for now. Let's just double check. So yeah, I got to make some stuff in Blender, and I got to animate them. So that's going to require some learning on my part. So next time, I think I'm going to be doing more, you know, 3D animation stuff, just like on the 3D Birthday Blast, which was forever ago now. And then we're going to try using the updated Z-Stream's model exporter to see how easy it is to get that stuff into the engine. Well, actually, oh, okay, so like I can. Oh yeah, if I can play some, games. I'll play some games on the stream. Okay, let me go check over on Okay. So for now, let me see. I mean, there's not a lot of people left on the stream, so let me just we can turn the back half of the stream into like just a quick little game night thing. So let me see. Let me go look through my my games folder and see what I have for the Saturn on here. I've got my archive drive, so I can play pretty much anything you want until Ponut uploads his thing. Oh my goodness, my archive drive needs to spin up. I forgot it's a hard disk. Let's break out some RoboPit just to get some inspiration for how things need to look. Okay, so can't see much on screen now, but yeah. So we're about to play Ponut's game, which is probably leagues ahead of where mine is right now. But until I get that upload on Discord, let me just load up RoboPit on the Saturn via Mednafen. So let me just find out where I'm actually supposed to be at first. Go Saturn, Go Engine, Projects, Seniriu. I'm just gonna take this run with Mednafen thing and move it off to its own folder. And let's edit this. Let's. I've got my archive drive with all these games on it. I don't need this part. So we're gonna CD over to okay. There we go. Here's my totally legit copy of RoboPit on the computer. Then we need a Q file, right? So oh wow, Ponut already got his game uploaded before I could even edit this. Holy crap, this place is a freaking nightmare of fake download links. Alright, I think I got this guy. So what was it? Let me look for it. Project August 8th? Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So let's see if Mendefend... Does Mendefend run ISOs, or am I going to have to run this in Yabase, or whatever it's called? Whoops! Unrecognized file format. Mendefend doesn't like, Let me try that again. .ips. What? You guys can see this, the error on the script here. I'm just trying to run, open up Mendefend. Oh, let me just run it in Yabase or whatever it's called, and Yabuse. Don't need all this stuff. Just need this. Okay, let's try Yabuse. Whoa. Okay, let's turn. You've got background music. That's new. Was that always there? Oh, I need to add. I need to add the boss. Whoops. Okay, my bad. Let me copy the Mendefend scene over. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know why Mendefend did that. Also, for some reason, is this not showing what's actually going on screen? I mean, no, I can see ponies. I can see what's going on here. It's OBS that can't see it. Let me try this again. It just doesn't want to pick it up. That's super unfortunate. Why doesn't it want to pick it up? Let me set up my controller real quick first. Maybe I can just grab the entire screen. Whoops. Okay, that's a little bit on the big side. Okay, first I'm gonna have to, what am I have to do? I'm gonna have to set up my actual controller on here. Up, down, left, right, trigger, trigger, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, start. Oh, there we go. Oof. Okay, there we go. Can I jump? I'm not understanding the, Whoa! Okay, right trigger is apparently jump. It's not that... It looks like it's coming out correctly. I mean, what I'm seeing on my screen is more or less what I'm seeing on this stream. So yeah, this is kind of not fair to Ponut. He volunteered to show us his game. It's I'm not sure what it's called. I'm just calling it Ponut's Little Pony for now. And it's functional. I can jump around using right trigger. I'm not sure if any of the other buttons do anything. Apparently C does something, I think. The forced widescreen is because I maximized this. Let me see if I can change the settings to force video to be 1440. Okay. Oh! Is that working? Wow, that's not working. Okay, full screen was a mistake. Much like anime. How do I force this in the right perspective? A and C are view control, right trigger is jump, I guess. Yeah, for now, forced widescreen is the way to go. I will find a way to get MedDefend to run ISOs because MedDefend just kind of works properly. But let me see. A is A. I'm actually getting A to run. C is rotating. A is not rotating. I think I didn't set up my controls right. A. There we go. Try that. There we go. Okay. So this is essentially the makings of a proper platformer in that I can run up hills and there's gravity and I'm getting pushed back by gravity. I got camera controls. I'm not sure that this is the control scheme I'd have gone for. I would have put jump on like A or C and then have the triggers do the camera rotation. There's a mid map here? Oh, did I activate the wireframe somehow? Oh, okay. B and Y also do camera controls. That's something. Yeah. So you got an animated pony. It's running. That's nice. It's further along than where I'm at. I think I remember what these boxes mean. These boxes are your collision boxes. So you have these test boxes to interact with your mesh ground, right? Is he exploding off the ground? Is that what that sound is? Or... Now, I feel like left trigger does something. Left trigger... When I hold down left trigger, I kind of slide around on the ground. Is that like is that a slide feature? So I'm sliding downhill now. Okay. That's actually a neat feature. So you could set up like actual physical slides, and it falls under its own gravity. So you could do like a Super Mario 64 type setup with like an ice level. So yeah, everyone, this is not my game. This is Ponut's game. Ponut is way ahead of where I'm at. I just finally got Collision done. Ponut's doing kind of like probably a cheaper version of Collision than what I'm doing. Well, I wanted like a strictly correct version of Collision, and he's doing a large mesh that is clearly more efficient and faster, with just some bounding box test points or helper points. There we go. Slide downhill. You know what? If you you could refine this into a like a Tony Hawk type game, I think, as well. Oh. Yeah, I imagine. So this is probably going to be your entry to the programming competition in 3 months, right? Okay, surface line collision. So surface line collision, if I'm thinking of this right, is essentially each one of these. The entire ground is a deformed mesh, and each mesh square has a normal. So he's kind of orienting himself along the normal, and that normal determines, how far down he'll slide according to gravity, what kind of friction is happening, and stuff like that. I don't know how much of that is implemented. Do you have do you have a frame rate loadout here? I need to figure out why Mednafen doesn't want to play the correct play the ISO the way it's supposed to. Because I thought I had it working before. I definitely felt like Mednafen was doing what I wanted to earlier. Okay, so it's running, 1 frame is 1/100th of a millisecond is what it's reporting. Or... Oh, 33 milliseconds. That's roughly 30 frames per second, is it not? Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm getting some actual air on this one. Feels like it's slowing down, though, when I do that. Where'd you get your music from? Is this royalty-free, or are we gonna get copyright claimed on YouTube? Oh boy. I don't think I'm gonna get claimed on Unreal Tournament. We'll find out. I'll tell you if I do. You know, you got a good point. I'm gonna fix up Mendef. Like, I'm gonna do the stream at the end of the competition. I'm gonna do the stream where I'm playing all the entries to help people, figure out where to download things, where to vote, and try things out. I definitely need to figure out this Mednafen thing before. I remember playing other games using Mednafen accurately. Like, I tried out Sonic R because that was the only way that I can get it to work. I definitely have some ISOs load up. Well, actually, no. I think I got my my images as Q files or something like that. Yeah, I don't even have SSF or BizHawk set up. I only have Mednafen and technically Boss. Oof. So what's the plan with this? Are you gonna add some enemies in, or is this gonna be like a race to the finish type deal with platforming puzzles? Okay, let me slide down this slope. Whoa, okay. I think I overshot that one. Collectibles and time trials. Okay, that's what it felt like. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Whoa. Okay, I'm getting some decent speed with the slide. Do Mediafire links expire? Can I leave your image up on the description so people can try it out? Yeah, my bad. $15 Sanics. How much is a Sanic? Is there a speed readout on this thing? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the Mediafire link in the description for the YouTube so people can try out the game, because this is a decent example of what some amount of time spent doing Saturn homebrew can get you. I mean, obviously, the emulator is not pulling its weight. I'm sure Mednafen would have run this better, but it's still very playable. Below the throttle. Okay, so they're in units of Sanics, is that it? So am I running it like 3 Sanics right now? Whoa, okay. Ah, I lost it. Oh, okay, I'm off grid. Is that a bad thing? Should I be back on grid, or can I keep going while I break this? I never even played Tribes. I heard good things about it, though. It's like an early PlanetSide, I think. Jump when going downhill. Okay. Just kind of like a roller skating game where you just kind of leverage your air. Okay, I'm totally lost, actually. Whoa, okay, there's a reset button. Beautiful. I feel like there should be, like, a rollover condition or something where I'm just gonna end up destroying my coordinate. Of course, it would probably take me forever to actually get out there. Whoa, okay, jump forward. Up the hill. Slide down. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it's a giant looping tourist world. How many polygons is your pony? I'm kind of admiring how, like, even with the low-res aesthetic, it kind of looks good. I mean, I think you've got more polygons than Spyro, maybe. It's kind of like, you could probably be a little less aggressive with this model and still get the same effect and maybe save a little bit of time on the render. Yeah, 208 feels like a lot, because, like, we run into problems, what, around 3,000 or 1,500, depending? Like, my models are going to look like crap. I'm going to purposely make them, like, super low polys, just so I can get everything on screen working. Just have to depend on textures to do all the work for me. I don't know if textures are cheaper than polygons or not. Okay, yeah, the pony does need to be cute. That's its job. What's going on? Okay, so there's a trade-off to be had then. So you want to leverage polygons more than textures, but after a certain point, you can save time with textures. Oof. Okay, there we can just get up the hill, and then slide down. Whoa. Okay, so the pony rotates with the camera. So what you're saying is that I can get away with high-res, single shaded, like single pixel or 8 pixel shaded polygons then. Because maybe I can do better, like if I want to make a goblin, I just make a whole bunch of green quads with like 2 eyes and a loincloth or something. And it would still come out at decent speed compared to like a few cubes with like Minecraft textures on them. My problem is that with my collision code not up to snuff, I might have to settle for 30 frames per second. Like I'm starting to come to terms with that. I had either that or I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time studying Saturn hardware to optimize literally everything. Yeah. Like I said, I'll get Mendefend to work better. Actually, if you give me a second, let me close out of this real quick. Let me take a quick look into my emulation folders or what have you, and see if I have a better version of this. I'm sure I have a. Let's see, we got Genesis, Dolphin, Dreamcast. Huh. Got Saturn stuff. Does my Saturn archive have anything? Nope. Thing is, if I look into my game dev folder, and I go and open up one of these scripts, should just work. Like here's the version I use with Seniriu, and it runs a queue. So maybe let's look on the browser real quick and see if I can't get Mendefend to run. Mendefend run ISO. Okay, we got some bio stuff. But I don't want to use the Q sheet. 1 minute. It's still telling me to use a cue sheet. I mean, you could, I guess. I want it to be able to run ISOs, though. According to this guy, it doesn't support ISOs. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to add that rule into the forum thread about the game competition. I think we're gonna need to enforce queues in order to get this to run properly. I don't think Meddefend can do it well. And Medefend is like one of the most accurate emulators you can get. All right, let me open Discord. All right, let me take this one then. Okay, so Ponut just sent me his script for how to do this. This part's redundant. Hey, this is the same thing I use. Yeah, dang it, Ponut. Okay, yeah, we need the queue file in order to run this properly. Let me undo all the changes here. So yeah, just send me the queue file and we can restart the game and see if it runs that much smoother or not. I'll put up the... is the queue file by itself sufficient, or do you also need a... what am I thinking of? Do you also need the bin file to go with it? I always generate a bin, a queue, and an ISO. Alright, let's download this 1 kilobyte queue file. It's okay, so it's queue ISO. Where's this queue at? You just downloaded a queue file, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. So it's gonna be the same name as it always is. And let's try running it. Whoops. What happened here? Oh, I need to have it named the same thing. There we go. Oops. Okay. So I'll go ahead and try to put both of those links up in the description when we upload this to YouTube, and then people will be able to play it. Oh! Okay, there we go. So this is definitely running smoother. You can just tell by how much smoother the animations are. Even the frame rate claims to be the same thing. The music still feels a bit wonky to me, but it sounds better. The sound effects sound better too. I think we gotta wait for the textures to catch up on the mesh. That or I pressed the wrong button. Whoa, okay. Camera controls. What's the wireframe button? Is it X or Z? Whoa, okay. Let's try Z. Okay, I pressed X and some mesh started to fill itself in on the edge. Okay. It's X. X is the wireframe button. So, new rule for the competition. I need ISOs and Q files, and also, I need detailed instructions on the controls. Okay. We'll have let's get a big round of applause in chat for Ponut for sharing his in development game for us before the competition, so the competition can come in and steal his ideas. Hopefully, we won't see a lot of My Little Pony clones in the 25th anniversary competition. Track around the edge of the map. Okay, let me try to find it first. Where am I going? Oh, okay. There's the mid-map points in the right direction. Let me just Is that it? Is that the track up ahead? Dang it, go. Yeah, maybe I need to go in the other direction. I don't know. No, I had a momentum. Ah, come on, just get in there. That's what I thought I was doing. I was... Oh, no. The X button. Come on. Crap. So, jump, hold down, slide. Jump. 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 There we go. Got like 7 Sanics on that one. If you release jump after it. Oh. Okay. Cue a jump. See, Medevent even makes this game look better. Like it's less pixelated, I think. I don't know if that's some sort of smoothing thing going on that shouldn't be there, but it looks nicer here. Okay. So it doesn't look quite this nice on native hardware then. If I can request a feature, it's a follow camera. Because I'm trying to maintain my momentum, and then I gotta... Your controls are centered around your facing. Oh. Okay. But you're running at basically 30 frames per second right now, right? Like that's essentially what this frame rate feels like right now. Yeah, I know it's a bit of an ask, but because you have to not, you can't just follow directly behind the character, because otherwise you're going to give yourself motion sickness. You have to give it kind of like a little rubber band inertial effect where it kind of tries to follow you, like a heat-seeking missile or something like that. I mean, you're probably right, because I'm playing this on an LCD right now, and I'm sure with scan lines, the aesthetic would probably work better. But yeah, I think for the competition, you should take this and just try to do, like, collect 15 carrots or whatever it is ponies eat, apples, and then head to the goal. You know, something like that, where it's like, you know, you have to collect things and then... I don't know, can you do floating obstacles? Can you do obstacles that aren't part of the mesh? Like for the collision, or would that be horrendously expensive? Okay, that's good. That's good. So that means you could do like floating platforms and stuff, make it kind of like a collectathon. Oh, okay. The point is, it's there's a path forward. So yeah, you've already got strong entry for the game competition, as far as I can tell. Of course, XL2 has that freaking ridiculous first-person shooter that, like, I haven't even had a chance to play it. I've just seen screenshots, and I already know it's fantastic. I mean, why bother with level editor when you can just make everything procedural? No, 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 what the hell, what the hell? Okay. Okay, at this point, we're, I feel like I've got a good feel for Ponut's gain. Well, I mean, Ponut's the only one in chat right now. We got 7 people in chat, but only Ponut's talking. Like, you know, you guys can comment if you want. I think I'm going to be closing it up for the night, though. It's nice to be able to actually play something on the stream, as opposed to struggle to make something. Super happy that the collision finally worked out. Yeah. I mean, you do have a more of a working game than I do right now, so, you know. You've got seniority on me. Of course, that means by the time the game competition comes around, I'm probably going to have, like, nothing near close enough to be considered a decent game. So, yeah, I guess I'll probably try to see you guys next week. Next week, we're going to be announcing the theme. So the theme is going to be decided on August 15th, and that's going to be the official start of the competition. And if I don't stream that night, I'll more likely stream the following night on a Friday. That's going to be the 16th, and we'll say, okay, here's the theme that you guys should kind of sort of pay attention to, but not really. And, you know, competition begins. And then I'll see you guys on November 15th when everyone submits all their ISOs and queues and controller mappings. And then I don't know what I'm going to work on next week. I guess I'm going to try working on animations or something. Make the box dance or what have you. Oh. Yeah, I'm also tired. We're finally getting new people in the chat, but I'm ready to close up the stream. So yeah, thank you all for joining us. You know, thank God Collision is finally done. We can get that over with. Everyone thank Ponut for his game contribution to the stream to fill up some time and give us something to stare at besides, you know, codes on a black screen. I'll see you guys next Friday when we're going to be announcing the theme of the annual Sega Saturn game making contest. Please check out the description for, you know, if you want to enter. Anyone that knows how to program even a little bit should try to enter and make a 2D game. And then we'll see if we can't do a little bit of 3D stuff. Go back to making some new models so we can stop staring at that one box over and over and over again. I'll see you all next week. Good night.